Your coworker pulls into the parking lot in a brand new truck. Sunroof open. Chrome wheels. Everyone gathers around it on their lunch break. You stay at your desk, eating a sandwich you made that morning, watching through the window. Someone asks if you're coming to look. You say maybe later. You don't go. 8 years later, that same truck will be gone, traded twice, still being paid off by someone else entirely. And the number in your account will say something neither of you saw coming back. Then rewind. You're 26. Your car is 9 years old. It has a dent on the back bumper you never fixed and a check engine light that comes on sometimes, then goes off, like it's just checking if you're paying attention. Your account says $2,100. Not much, but it's yours, and none of it belongs to a car loan. At work, someone asked when you're finally going to treat yourself to something new. You laugh it off. You don't explain that the 10-year-old sedan is the reason you have $100 and not -$8,000 like the guy in the truck. You drive home that night, radio on, windows cracked, and you don't feel like you're missing anything. Not yet, anyway. Some nights you do. Rule 1. The car you don't buy is worth more than the car you do. You just don't see the number for years. A year passes. You could afford a new car now, technically. The bank would approve you in 10 minutes. You sit in the dealership parking lot on your lunch break one day, just looking. You don't go in. Instead, you put $300 that month into an account you don't touch. You tell yourself it's just this once. It becomes a habit within 3 months. $6,800. The number that used to feel impossible now sits quietly in an app you check maybe twice a week. Your sister asks why you're still driving that old thing. You say it runs fine. She doesn't push, but you can tell she thinks you're being stubborn for no reason. You don't correct her. You let her think what she wants. Some things aren't worth explaining yet. Rule 2. People will question a decision they can't see the ending of. Let them. Your dad, who spent 15 years financing a new truck every 4 years like clockwork, tells you over the phone that a car is the one thing worth borrowing for, because you use it every day. You don't argue. You just say, maybe, and let it go. He means well. He's just never seen the version of this story where the old car wins. 3 years in, the old car needs a new transmission. $1,900 to fix it. For a second, standing in the mechanic's waiting room, you consider just buying something new instead. The math would almost make sense. You pay for the repair. You drive out of the shop in the same car, older now, a little rougher, still yours, still paid off. That same week, your neighbor leases a new SUV. Payments are $640 a month for 4 years. He shows you the interior one evening in the driveway, genuinely excited, and you're happy for him. You mean it. You just don't want what he has. $24,000 in your account by the end of that year. The number your coworker with the truck doesn't know exists, because you've never once mentioned it to anyone at work. Rule 3. Silence about money isn't secrecy. It's just refusing to turn your bank account into small talk. Year 4. You start automating investments, $500 a month into an index fund. The same amount other people spend on a car payment, they don't think twice about. You learn to read a balance sheet before you learn to care about horsepower. You learn what an expense ratio is before you learn the new car smell of anything. At a friend's barbecue, someone brings up your car, jokingly in front of a group. Still driving that thing. You could afford 10 of those by now, probably. Everyone laughs. You laugh too. You don't correct them, but internally, you do the math, and you're not far off from being right. Just not in the direction they think. $47,000. Invested, growing, untouched. You drive home that night in the same old car, and for the first time, the joke doesn't sting at all. Rule 4. Let people underestimate the number. It costs you nothing and protects everything. 5 years in. Market drops hard, fast, over 18 days. Everyone at work is talking about it. Your coworker with the truck, still paying it off for years later, is talking about maybe finally selling before it's worth less than what he owes. You watch your own numbers drop. $71,000 down to $59,300 in under 3 weeks. You feel it. Your stomach tightens every time you check. You think about every year you didn't buy the car. Every joke you sat through quietly. You almost pull money out just to feel like you're doing something instead of watching it fall. You don't. You close the app instead. And you go outside and change your car's oil yourself in the driveway. Hands busy, mind quiet for the first time in days. Nobody claps. Nobody notices. But that evening, alone with the wrench in your hand, you make peace with the decision you'd already made months earlier, before the drop ever happened. Rule 5. The discipline isn't deciding what to do during the crash. It's deciding before it. so there's nothing left to decide in the moment. Your mom calls that same week, worried, having seen the news about the market. She asks if you're okay, if you're losing everything. You tell her the truth, that the number on the screen went down, but nothing about your life actually changed. And that's the whole point of investing money you don't need for another 20 years. She doesn't fully understand it, but she stops worrying because you sound calm, and calm is contagious even through a phone line. Year 6. The market climbs back, then past where it started. The dollars you kept investing through the drop bottom low without you meaning to. And now they're worth far more than they were before any of it happened. $118,000. You check the number twice, the way you always do when it stops looking real. Your co-worker finally sells the truck that year, upside down on the loan, paying the difference out of pocket just to be rid of the payment. He mentions it once, quietly, not the way he used to talk about it in the parking lot. You don't say anything about your own numbers. You just nod, and you mean it when you say that sucks. Man. Rule 6. Everyone's story looks the same on the outside for a while. It's only years later that the numbers tell you who was actually building something. You remember the exact day. Years earlier, when he first pulled into the parking lot with that truck. Sunroof open, everyone gathered around clapping him on the back. Nobody gathered around your desk that day, or any day since. Nobody ever claps for the year you didn't buy something, but the number in your account has been clapping for you quietly this whole time. In the only language it knows. Year 7. Your old car finally gives out for real this time, no fixing it. You go car shopping, cash in hand, no loan, no lease, no payment plan. You buy something modest, reliable, not flashy. The salesman seems almost disappointed you're not financing. Less commission for him, apparently. You drive it home. And it's the first new car you've ever owned, bought outright. 8 years after you first said maybe later in that parking lot and meant it. $186,000 still sitting untouched. Growing, completely separate from the car in your driveway. Rule 7. The goal was never to buy a car. It was to buy it on your terms, in cash, without owing anyone a monthly reminder of the decision. You park it in the same spot you used to park the old one, in front of your building. A neighbor compliments it, asks what you financed it through. You say you didn't finance it. He looks at you for a second like you just spoke another language, then nods slowly, like something's clicking into place that he's never actually considered before. 8 years since that first truck showed up in the parking lot. 8 years since you stayed at your desk, eating a sandwich, watching through the window. $247,000. A number that took 8 years of saying, maybe later, and actually meaning it over and over. Quietly, with nobody keeping score but you. You run into that same co-worker at a gas station years later. He's driving something modest now too, paid off, no big story about it. You both fill up your tanks, talk for a minute about nothing important, and drive off in opposite directions. Neither of you mentions numbers. You don't need to. You already know. The night, sitting in your driveway in the car you paid for in full. You think about how nobody ever remembers the year you didn't buy something. Nobody throws a party for a purchase that didn't happen. There's no photo for restraint, but the number remembers. It remembers every single time. Someone at work, new hire, young, asks you one day why you didn't get anything new sooner, since you clearly could afford to. You think about it for a second, then just say, I did get something new. It just wasn't a car. They don't fully understand what you mean. That's fine. You didn't either. 8 years ago, standing at that window, choosing not to walk outside and look at a truck you didn't need. Sometimes late at night, you still open the app just to look at the number, not because you doubt it, but because 8 years ago you couldn't have imagined it existing at all. It's not about the car. It never was. It's about every version of yourself that stayed at the desk, ate the sandwich, and didn't go look, and what that quiet, unremarkable choice turned into when nobody was counting except you. What's the thing you keep saying, maybe later to? And what number is it quietly turning into?